What's going on, everybody? If you're seeing this page, that means the official Taurean Reign Reloaded merch store is now available. To get access to the store, make sure you go ahead and click the store tab on my YouTube channel. From there, you will be able to see all the merch that is available. We have mugs, shirts, hoodies, joggers, and so much more to come. All original designs made by yours truly, Taurean Reign Reloaded. Now go ahead and get your merch today, and you can feel nothing in style.
A Collin County mother was sentenced to 75 years in prison for holding a woman hostage and torturing her.
Alicia Calderon was sentenced last week for 2 years. She tortured a young woman who was living in her home, pouring boiling water on her skin, locking her in a dog cage. Prosecutors say Calderon and her husband also took advantage of an elderly woman, stealing her inheritance and stealing and cashing her Social Security checks. Fox 4's David Centenry spoke to the parents of victims of Calderon's torture and joins us live. David?
Yeah, the now 27-year-old daughter's parents say they thought their adult daughter just drifted apart from them. They say they never suspected sadistic torture.
Relieved.
27-year-old Simone Valdez Junkin clings to her therapist with burn scars across her arms after testifying against her abuser, 37-year-old Alicia Calderon.
So she was friends with Alicia before any of this happened.
In 2019, Valdez Junkin thought she was moving into Calderon's trailer in Wiley to clean and care for Calderon's children and a disabled elderly woman in exchange for free rent. Valdez Junkin's parents say communication drifted.
I guess I just thought that she was just kind of living her life.
For more than 2 years, however, Calderon controlled Valdez Junkin with unthinkable torture. She severely burned Valdez Junkin's arms, chest, and back by pouring a pot of boiling water on her. She deprived her of food, locked her in a dog crate, and cut off her communication to the outside world.
It's heinous. You don't think that this kind of stuff can happen.
On February 1st, 2022, Valdez Junkin got a hold of a phone and sent her stepfather a message saying she was locked in a room and needed help. It was the first time in 2 years Valdez Junkin had spoken with her parents. Her stepfather went to the trailer with deputies who had to remove stacked stones away from the door in order to free her. She was down to 68 pounds. Her head was shaved, and she had second and third degree burns.
I initially did not recognize her. All she wanted to do was just get away.
It took me about a week and a half before I really could register that that was my daughter. I couldn't. She was just skin, literally skin hanging off of her bones.
During Calderon's sentencing, prosecutors revealed she stole nearly $80,000 from the disabled elderly woman in her care, the money going toward tattoos, tire rims, and party rentals. Prosecutors say her husband, Joseph Calderon, was involved. He's charged with elderly exploitation and abuse. He's out on bond awaiting trial. Fox 4 tried to make contact with him at the trailer Tuesday, but we were asked to leave.
There's no comment, go away. It's private property. Thank you.
Is this Joseph?
I mean, they're just terrible people.
One neighbor says he saw Valdez Junkin on occasion, but did not know the abuse she was suffering.
Yeah, she would always be dirty. They wouldn't shower her or nothing. Like, she would always be dirty.
I wasn't there for her. And I hate that.
Valdez Junkin's parents say they never suspected the torture. Now, as Calderon begins a sentence of 75 years in prison, they say their daughter is determined to make the most of her life.
Simone is absolutely determined to overcome all of this.
Joseph Calderon is expected back in court on October 27th. However, a court date, or should I say a trial date, has yet to be set. Heather, Steve, back to y'all.
All right, David Centenary live tonight. Thanks, David.
I do a lot of stories on my channel, a lot of different variety of types of stories on my channel, as many of y'all who have been following me for years know. And some of them are y'all can handle it. Some of them y'all know that you know what to expect when you actually hear or know what you're about to hear. But I can guarantee you some of you are not or were not prepared for what you just heard. Y'all probably just saw the title and was like, oh, okay, it might be a run-of-the-mill type of thing. Trust me, it wasn't. Y'all are probably in that chat right now just cringing at what you're hearing. Y'all probably looking at this woman's picture and probably wanting to destroy her for the simple fact of what she did. these are stories that are hard to do because I don't like when people trick people into doing something and under false pretenses of one thing and then you get another outcome. This is up there with that other story I did about that woman that came from South Korea thinking she was about to join a religious group, and they ended up torturing her so bad that she ended up decaying and dying in the trunk of a car. And we saw what the outcome of that was. Now here you have this woman right here, if you even want to call her that tricked this woman under whatever guise she tricked her under and tortured this woman for a long time, was stealing her money, throwing boiling hot water on her. The woman ended up losing a lot of weight. She suffered like 2nd and 3rd degree burns, and then her husband aided in what he was in what she was doing. Like, this woman's life will never ever be the same. No matter how much help and rehab she gets, she's going to be going through this for the rest of her life. She's probably going to have to get a lifetime supply of physical and mental therapy to try to repair what was done to her in her life at the hands of this chick and her husband, to be quite honest, because he's not off the hook either, even though they're focusing mainly on her because she was definitely the one leading the charge and he was aiding her. It was a team effort at the end of the day. So I'm glad that this woman actually got 75 years behind bars for what she did, which basically equals out she's going to be spending the rest of her life in prison. There's no way she's getting out. In my opinion, her husband should get the same amount of time as well, because he's no innocent party. He aided in it. He was there. He helped with the torture. Like I said, even though she was the one pretty much leading the charge, he was there. Like they said, this woman spent $78,000 of the elderly relatives recently received inheritance within 3 months of it being received, and spent years spending the woman's social security checks, among other things, on tattoos, new rims for her car, and a party rental business. So this woman was stealing this woman's money for her own personal wants and needs and desires. They said this woman weighed 68 pounds when they found her. Kind of reminds you of the other woman from South Korea. She weighed, I think she weighed like 75 pounds when they found her. They said that she was covered in 2nd and 3rd degree burns, and her head was shaved. That is crazy. They said the victim spent 6 weeks in the hospital to recover from her injuries and malnourishment. So they literally had to probably put damn near what's the equivalent of a feed bag to get her weight back up to something that is healthy. With 6 weeks, you're talking about a month and a half in a hospital just to get your weight back up and to recover from 2nd and 3rd degree burns. I don't know if anyone's never seen 2nd and 3rd degree burns, but that's when your burns have gone beneath the flesh. At that point, you're damn near seeing bone. They said she poured boiling hot water. That means to put the water on the stove, wait till it gets to its highest boiling point, and while it's still boiling, once you take it off the stove, and just dump it on her. And wherever it lands, it lands. And this woman, to my knowledge, did this multiple times. It's crazy out here. It is some sickos and some psychos that live amongst us in this society, and sometimes you will never know who they are because sometimes they can present themselves as one way. And you heard in the audio they had talked to the neighbor. They said that they would see her sometimes and she would look dirty. And I'm talking about the victim. That man, listen. And they definitely took advantage of this person because of their age. They knew they would not most likely get away with this with someone who was way younger, who was probably in their right state of mind, who would probably read between the lines of whatever they were trying to do. That's why you cannot trust everybody. No matter how good their intentions may seem, you don't trust everybody, because everybody's not going to have your best interests at heart. This woman damn sure didn't. This woman right here lacks a soul. She has no heart. She's literally a walking shell of herself. I don't know what happened in her life to drive her to do something this chaotic, or if this is just a lustful thing for her to do. Like she just wanted to, like she knew that she had to go through life, but before she left this world, she had to find someone to torture. And that's probably what it boiled down to. And I hate that I even had to say the word boil, considering the torture the woman had to go through with boiling hot water. This is one of the sickest torture stories I've ever heard in my life. And I've done a few of them, or spoken on a few of them. Like I said, the one that happened in August that I talked about in September. But like I said, you cannot trust everybody. I hope that woman has a rather transitional recovery. I can't even say speedy recovery, because that's not likely. That's not realistic at all. There's no speedy recovery with this. Between, like I said, the physical ailment she's going to have and the mental ailment she's going to have, it's going to take years to recover from this. And I mean years on top of years on top of years. I don't even want to give a range, because that I was going to say 5 years, but that may even be too short, because some people go through even the more slightly minuscule types of mental ailment and physical ailment, and they're still recovering 10, 20 years from the incident. This woman went through absolute complete mental and physical torture. This is, like I said, going to be a lifetime deal for her. Until the day she is put in the ground, she's going to be dealing with this every single day, almost every second and minute of the day, for the rest of her life, because of what this raggedy heifer did, along with her even more raggedy husband.